I'm Lauren with Pack Hacker, and in this video we're taking a detailed look at the Trakke Messages Tote, which I've been testing for the last month. Let's dive in. The tote is pretty straightforward on the outside. It has a very classic Trakke look to it, both with the colorway that it has and also just kind of that like sleek, minimal design. But a few things set this apart. First of which is the material. So this is a lightweight dry finish wax canvas. Bring a little bit closer to the camera so you can see it. And that's like the dry wax canvas is something we're used to seeing with Trakke. But what's different about this is that it's a lot thinner. So this actually makes the tote a lot more packable than we've seen with other totes or other bags from Trakke. And when this is empty, I'll show you how it can kind of really like crunch up once we take a look at everything on the inside. But I think that's what really makes this a nice tote. I actually really like this thing overall. We have a few blemishes to kind of look at here. So we've got like one there. We've got just some general marking up on the front here. But I think the nice part about like a wax canvas is that you're going to develop some sort of a patina. And so if that's a look that you're already ready to get, then this is a really great representation of that. They also have a different version that is made with like a ripstop. It's like a ripstop edition or something like that, and that is going to be a little bit different, but it has the same aesthetic and the same functionality. Otherwise, on the outside here, we just have this branding, very simple branding on the top. This is actually stitched in, so this is pretty standard for Trakke, that like stitching on of their logo, but they did recently switch to doing some like Velcro logos. So this is actually that previous design where it's just stitched on. Personally, that doesn't bother me. I didn't really need the Velcro logo, so I don't mind that at all. But otherwise, there's really nothing going on the outside here. Just the straps kind of flowing in this nice like triangular design, which has some functionality to it, which we'll get into in a bit. Like the lightweight design of the material, the straps are also lightweight. So this is just like a regular webbing strap. There's nothing really special to it. When Trakke makes bags with like thick, they usually make bags with thicker straps. So you'll see like, I don't know, it'll almost be like 3 times as thick as this current strap is and a lot wider. And it's like this big cotton strap. I like those straps because they feel very sturdy, and that's kind of what you would come to expect from Trakke. But what's nice about these thinner straps here is that they make this bag a lot more packable, which I think is really where this bag shines for travel or, you know, honestly just everyday carry. So with these here, I didn't really feel like they were lacking too much. It could get a little bit heavy. Like it would get a little bit uncomfortable if I had a lot of really heavy items in here. But even so, if you're not gonna be carrying this like literally all day long, I thought it was perfectly fine. I just kind of was hauling from like place to place, didn't have any issues. And then the other design that I really like about this is that there are actually smaller handles right here. So upon first glance, it looks like just kind of a continuation of this strap design, but it's actually 2 straps on either side that you can use as just like a very short tote carry handle. And then these longer carry handles just kind of flop to the side. So I really like this. This is really good for quick grabs. If the tote got a little bit too full, it was kind of hard to grab these and hold them together. And so I would just default to the longer straps. But in general, this isn't a design that we see super often, and I think they did it really well. This is how I primarily carried the tote. It just kind of hung out over one shoulder. And like I mentioned, if the tote got really heavy, this could get a little bit uncomfortable, but it sits pretty nicely just in one spot. If I was just wearing it like this without, you know, anything else going on, I could just have like my arms out, I could have them down. I didn't need to hold the strap. I could fit this perfectly fine over like a big puffy jacket or something. And if I did do that, then I would need to actually keep my hand on the strap just because it would slip off a little bit more. But otherwise pretty comfortable. I'm 5'6", and with the length of the straps, if I carry it down by my side, it doesn't actually touch the floor, which is nice. And then these are the other straps I was talking about, down right at the base of the bag, or the base of the top of the bag, where you can just grab them, and it's a very short carry next to you. So if you are a little bit shorter, this is a really good option for carrying it down by your side. If you're finding this video helpful, hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. Looking at the exterior of this bag, we actually do have a couple of secondary compartments. So we've got 3 technically all across this bag. We have 1 in the dead center here, and this will hold larger items, and then 2 on the side. So I'll start with the 2 on the side. With this here, it's like a triangular shape, but it stops around here. Originally, I thought it did go all the way down to the bottom because every time I stuck my fingers in there, like I couldn't really get my hand all the way down to where it does stop. But it does have a little bit of an ending, which is good because you don't want to lose your items all the way down there. But with this, I would put small items, like I'd put my headphones, I'd put a tube of chapstick, something like that. And here, once this is empty, I can kind of show you the inside there. It's very straightforward, but like I mentioned, like my fingers are all the way, my hands basically all the way in, and I'm not touching the base of where the pocket ends. I have to go a little bit deeper. So you do have a decent amount of room there. If you have really, really tiny items and they do fall down to the bottom, it might get a little bit hard to get to them, but not too bad. And then on the other side here, there's actually a little loop that acts as a key leash, or not a key leash, but just like a key hook. So I had to add my own carabiner. If you wanted to, you could just use a jump ring, but that would get a little bit tedious in my opinion to take on and off all the time. So with the little carabiner, you can just unclip your keys whenever you want. You can see my keys are a little bit bulkier because I have a car fob on there, I have a fob for the office, I have a tracker, that kind of a thing, and they don't really fit smoothly in there. Like I kind of have to shove them in, and they do feel like they're going to fall out. So if you have a lot of keys, that might not be a great spot for them. But this other pocket, you could always just put them in there. So this pocket here, that's where I put a Kindle. So that's for easy reading on the go. And then I would also put like my wallet or something in here, or my keys if, you know, I didn't have a ton of space in the other pockets that I wanted to utilize. Overall, the main compartment is pretty simple, just like these exterior pockets. So this is just essentially a dump pocket for the rest of your gear. In here right now, at the moment, I have an extra layer, and then I have a water bottle, and I have a laptop. So this was primarily what I carried on a day-to-day basis. This laptop sleeve, obviously I wanted to add because there's no padding or anything in here. There's not even like a second liner to add a little bit of cushion. It is very much just this single piece of fabric that is sewn up and, you know, designed to be as small as possible. So it is a 17-liter bag. It does fit a good amount of stuff. I actually did like a quick it was like a overnight trip, and I fit almost everything that I needed in this bag. I did need to have some extra stuff, so I brought a secondary bag, but honestly, if I did a couple of overnights where it wasn't like out of town, and I fit everything that I needed in here, just like a change of clothes and some toiletries, and it was perfect for that. But I think what would also really work with this bag really well is like if you wanted to keep this just in your backpack, which I did a couple of different times, and then I used it if I was like going on a quick shopping trip or something, because you can see, like I mentioned earlier, this material just packs down so small, and that's really where this thing starts to thrive. So I mean, this is like about even smaller than most packable jackets. So I either balled it up like this and put it in my backpack, like my travel backpack, or there were a couple times where I like kept it flatter and I shoved it in like a laptop compartment or something that I wasn't using. And it was nice because it kind of stayed tucked out of the way. With the way that it's designed, there's no like flat base or anything. I mean, as you're loading items, you can see like it does get a little bit of a base. Like if I really flatten this out, you can kind of see it. But for the most part, when I was loading this up, you kind of have to load it like you would any other packable tote, whereas you would load a lot of like bottom heavy stuff down at the bottom to kind of give you a base, and then you can load things on top of it. Otherwise it flops all over the place. But depending on what you have in here, if you do have a lot of like flatter items on the bottom, it can stand up on its own. But for the most part, I think where this really thrives is that packability. And so this is going to be a really great tote if you're not sure you want it all the time, but if you do want a tote, when you do carry a tote, if you want it to look nice, this is a really great option because Trakke pays good attention to their build quality and their materials. So it looks very sleek and has great functionality, but won't take up a ton of space in your bag. So there you have it, the Trakke Messages Tote. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.